It was a Sunday. I just got off of work, and I got a call from my sister and said my brother got shot. She told me not to panic, and I didn't panic, because I had faith in my brother. I knew he wasn't weak. Never been a weak man. But when I got the call that he wasn't coming home, it shattered me. That was a big part of my life. He spoke motivation. He spoke strength into anybody. It didn't matter. He couldn't know you from a can of paint. It didn't matter. If he showed love, he showed love. That's all it was. He was a good man. He was gonna be a great father. He was a great brother. And it hurt to think about. I try not to think about it, honestly. Every day it just get harder. Because I can't call him no more. I can't speak to him. And it made me sick to my stomach. I can't process the rest of my day right. I thought I was okay, but when this day came around, it kind of showed that I wasn't. I don't know when I will be, but I'm not gonna think too hard about that. I'm gonna just keep going about my life because I know that's what he will want. My brother showed me a lot of my life. He made sure that I knew that I was gonna be okay, and I knew that I was good. He always told me how I was the best of the five, and how I was the one. I never felt like that before. When he told me that put a whole new motivation in my heart. Losing him felt like I lost a big piece of my motivation. It made life really hard for me. I didn't think I was gonna cry when I got up here. I apologize. I miss my brother a lot. I miss my brother every day. And I just hope, like my sister and my brother said, I hope he's satisfied with what he chose to do that day. I don't think I ever will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
My name is Antoinette Turner, Antoinette Turner. I am Norva Carter's mother. September 4th, 2023 changed me. I was always the one that they said, you say how you feel. You say what people think. And I am. But I'm different now. I got the call, and I knew he wasn't coming home. You changed me. You really changed me. You took a whole family because you wanted to. You destroyed your family because you wanted to. I hurt in places I didn't know existed. I can stand in front of this court and say, I hate you. When I wake up tired, I know it's because of the energy I spent hating you. I know I will be forever tired because I will forever hate you. No, I don't forgive you. I care if you never are forgiven. That's between you and your God or whoever you pray to. I wanted to know why, but I hope that the why turns into the worst type of anything that can fester within your body and ruin you from the inside out, like you have done so many people with the senseless, mindless gestures of pulling a trigger on September 4th, 2023. As you sit and turn 30 in jail, I want you to say happy birthday to yourself, because you're probably the only person that care. You changed me, and I hate you.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Travis Henry. It's TravisHenry, and I'm Norbert Carter's father. I just wanted to let you know what kind of person that Norbert was. I used to always joke with him and his brother about me having a video of them doing the the video for the Michael Jackson song from the Free Willy movie, Will You Be There? And when he found out I didn't have it, he came up to me and said, you know what, since you always said that you have that video, I'll make it for you. That's the type of guy he was. And he was willing to embarrass himself to make other people happy. And, you know, it hurts to this day that I can't call him and mess with him about that video again. And, you know, I just wanted to say that, Jason, you destroyed us. And I hope you live a long time and suffer a lot. Because that's what we're going to be doing. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Ronzell Clayton, Ronzell Clayton, Clayton, Senior. I was Norbert Carter's stepfather. And everybody pretty much said a lot of things I would like to say. Norbert was a man of God, was baptized. We were a family of jokesters having a good time. Even after he was married, you know, he made everybody around him, from college to high school friends, everybody enjoyed being in his company because he was that type of person. September 4th, unfortunately, I was not in town. I had to come back from Tennessee with this on my mind, that I would not be able to see my son again, which made it very difficult. He was a man of God, like I said.
One moment, sir. All right, everyone can hear us still? Thank you. All right, go ahead, sir.
Yes. I just want to say that, nobody knows what was going through the young man's mind during that day. But my son came in good faith to do something for his stepmom, along with his wife and his son, Jason's son, in the car. They went to go deliver something, from my understanding. And for this to be the outcome, very unsurprisingly to everyone, at a church picnic of all things, he did not use any type of judgment. Anybody could have been in the line of fire of those bullets, so could have been more families here grieving due to his careless acts. But I just want to say that, whatever you oppose upon this young man, it probably won't be deserving enough, because he took people's lives that were there for love and caring for others. And so I just hope that you give him the maximum of whatever he can get. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is going to be on as well. Marilyn, you can unmute yourself, okay?
I did.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Turner, this is Judge Bell. We can hear you, and it's your turn to speak if you wish to say something. This is
Your
for the
Honor, my
record.
name is
One moment for the
my name
record.
is
Go ahead, that's fine.
my name is Marilyn Turner.
Thank you.
Marilyn. Last name Turner. Turner. I am Norbert Carter III. I am his grandmother. I am Mercedes' grandmother-in-law. And I would have had my third great-grandchild. I don't know what monster took you over, Mr. Iverson, but whatever it was, you destroyed a lot of people. My family, your family, and a family that was yet to become, that could not be seen. I don't know whether you've ever read it, but there's this book called the Bible. I hope you find time to read it. And while you're reading it, I hope that you read one of the things that God said that you should not do, and that was not kill. You should not be envious, and I think that was part of your problem, because Norbert took care of you, your mother, and your children. He was just that kind of a man. God will forgive you. I don't know if we ever will, because you took it away. But in my prayers every night and every day, I ask that every heart that has been struck by your careless, unworthy thoughts, that we forgive you for what you have done, and we ask God to soften our hearts so that He will forgive us for thinking the things that we think of you. While you are incarcerated, I truly hope that the judge puts you there for the rest of the time that you breathe on this earth. And while you're there, I hope you pick up the book, and I hope you read it, and I hope you understand. One day, you have to meet that man, and he's going to deal with you, not like the justice system, but he's going to deal with you. My mother told me when I was a little girl, and I had carried it through for 80 years, and I am passing it along to all of mine. No one can get you like God can. And when you stand before your Maker, young man, I hope you have a very good explanation. God bless you all, and please stay safe. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Turner.
Ms. Turner, if you could go ahead and mute.
Thank you.
My name is Jameer Iverson. Oh, hi, Your Honor. My name is Jameer Iverson, J-A-M-E-R-E, last name Iverson, I-V-E-R-S-O-N.
Okay, Mr. Iverson. Thank you for speaking here. And I ask you to keep your voice up so I can hear it.
Yes.
Okay? Go ahead, you can do this.
Okay. This is harder than I thought. After everything happened and everything, I was listening to a song. It's called "I Know" by Pleas, and it was
I cannot hear you.
Okay.
It was
a little bit closer. Okay. That's okay. You know, it's nice to be soft-spoken. It's a good trait, and it's hard. But pretend I'm far away from you. I need you to use like a loud voice, like I'm using with you, and I'm doing it purposely. So you were about to tell me about is it a poem that you were reading?
It was a song I was listening to.
A song you were listening to. Okay.
And there was a lyric in the song that said, "How could I wake up from a dream to a nightmare?" It made me really think about it because it made me really think about that day because just about an hour before everything happened, I had just woke up and I was so excited to meet her. And there were so many things, like so many energies that was telling me just don't beat her that day, but I ignored all the signs and the energies and everything that was telling me not to, and I was there anyway. And I think what made everything so much worse for me about it is, it's like I was actually there and I saw it all happen right there. It's a thing, and sometimes it's just like, at times after everything first happened, I kind of blame myself a little bit for Mercedes passing because it was so close to being me instead of her. And for a little while, I really blamed myself for moving my head and missing that. But afterwards, I really came to terms with the fact that it wasn't meant to be me. Because now I get to sit here and help uplift everybody from the situation. I feel like I was given a gift to be able to uplift everybody else around me, including myself, and I'm happy that I'm able to do so. Because if I wasn't, I'm not sure how anybody in my family would have been able to get through this. It's just so many things that I think about after. It's just like it hits me so hard because it was like they just looking at their smiles. It was just like it brought such a sense of relief and happiness to me. And now that I can't see that face to face no more, I can't get on a FaceTime call with them and tell them about how I'm doing in school no more, or tell them about something new going on that I was really excited about, or just to be able to get that motivation from them anymore. It's just, I don't know how I deal with it every day. I don't. It was more times I could count where I came over my aunt Mercedes' house crying because of something that was going on, and her and Norbert just helped me through it with such ease. And now I can't have that no more. It's like I can't even sometimes, like I can't even sleep right. There's times I try to go to sleep and all I see is Jason in my dreams, and it's like it'd be so weird because it'd be like everyone in the dream, it's like nothing ever happened, but I know what happened. And it's just like waking up from that dream hurt because just seeing everybody act like nothing happened and seeing them right there smiling like that, being happy. I can't deal with that. I told myself a little while ago that I can't sit here and hate you for the rest of my life. That's too much to weigh upon myself. But I also know I can't sit here and forgive you. So I'm in a place between the two. And will I ever heal from this event? Probably not. There was so many times I thought I was okay from it, but then I sit down and really think about it and reimagine the situation, and it just breaks me down again and again. No pain that I've ever felt could compare to this one. Seeing two people that I love the most, and one person that I know I would have loved with all my heart, just go like that right in front of my eyes. And there was nothing I could have did about it. And I think me not being able to do anything about it is one of the parts that hurt the most. I'm gonna say right now, I hope whatever God, Lord, or whatever that you believe in or start to believe in forgives you for the things you've done. And good luck wherever life takes you next. That's all.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Jamir Iverson's mom. I'm sorry, my name is Dimitra Hereford. Dimitra. Last name Hereford.
The last name again,
Hereford.
Thank you.
I'm Jamir's mother. He also have 2 other siblings for myself and Jason. So I want to speak on their behalf. Jason Jr. is just turned 10. Jayla just turned 8. They were there. All 3 of them was there the day of the event. so they seen everything. So every day for the last 6 months, they have nightmares. They can't really focus. They want their aunt, their uncle, and their cousin back. Even though they're old enough to understand that we can't get that back, having a conversation with little kids, for the longest, Jason Jr. blamed himself as well. They know what happened, but they don't know why it happened. And for some reason, they blame themselves. Every day they have to live with the visions in their head of their aunt bleeding out on the ground in front of them. Jameer has to live with him literally being shot at or grazed. So he had blood all in his eyes, glass all in his eyes. He was in the backseat of that vehicle, listening to his aunt choke on blood. And that is something that Jason cannot take back. I really want to ask, that, Jason, you sit in your cell every day and you think about what you did to Jason, Jayla, and Jameer, as well as both families. But you ended their life before it can even begin. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Brianna, Breanna Williams. I'm Mercedes' cousin. Mercedes I'm the youngest, one of the youngest grandchildren and cousins. Mercedes and Jason was like the brother and sister to me. For this to happen to Mercedes, and all she did was she took care of us. She took care of me. She took care of her nieces, her nephews. She even considered my children her nieces and nephews. And then I can't even speak about Mercedes while I was speaking about Nord. Wherever you see Mercedes, you see Nord. Wherever you see Nord, you see Mercedes. Mercedes and Nord consider my children their nieces and nephews. They took care of their nieces and nephews. They love family. They were very family oriented. That's all they ever wanted. And for the fact that they couldn't get their own family, it hurts. I blame myself a lot. Because I was supposed to stop Jason from doing this. I was supposed to say Nora. I was supposed to say Mercedes. But I couldn't do neither of those things that day. And it replays in my mind every day of what I could have did to save them, even to keep Jason out of jail. To take the hurt away from my aunt. 'Cause I can't imagine losing both of your children. And I can't imagine the pain that these kids are going through. 'Cause not only was his kids there, my kids were there too. My daughter told me she thought it was me that he killed. Because that's the last thing she saw was me fighting with him to protect Mercedes and Nord. And then to see me covered in Mercedes' blood, that will ever mess with my child. My child has me sleeping on the floor at times with her because she's scared. She's scared that Jason will come to the house. She's scared that somebody is shooting at our house. I have to deal with that. Not only my trauma, but hers. I have to deal with Nora running to me while he's getting shot. And he loved my cousin so much, he didn't not say one word about him. He said, go save Mercedes. And I couldn't even do that. Mercedes died in my hands. We stared at each other. She didn't leave until I told her I loved her. Her staring at me will forever be in my mind. I couldn't even wash my own clothes that day. I had so much blood. My childhood memories are ruined because I was always with Mercedes and Jason. They were my protectors, and I did not feel protected that day. I consider Mercedes a sister. I consider Jason a brother because we all grew up together. I feel so responsible to pick up the pieces. I feel responsible to take care of my aunt. I feel responsible to take care of his kids. I just wish this day would never happen. It's so much I wish. I don't know what I could have done. I wish you would have fought me. At least I knew that you wouldn't be here, and Mercedes and Trey and baby Ava would be here. You left. There's nobody. Oh, you just left this. It's so. I can't even speak. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
You need to stand.
Judge, at this time, the state is going to play State's Exhibit 1 that will make part of the record pursuant to the court's decision earlier. That will be played at to the direction of you, Judge.
Thank you. One more. Yes, you may turn it now. We'll wait. Ms. Bale, Mr. Ty, any issues? Are we okay here, or do you need a moment?
We're okay.
All right. Thank you.
Judge, if you look at State's Exhibit 1, the individual in the orange shirt, that's the defendant here, kind of at the front of the screen. And this white vehicle up here is where the defendant's mom and his two other younger children are. This vehicle here is where Mercedes, Jameer, and Norbert were.
Could you pause it a moment? I'm familiar with the park? Is the park on the right or the left of the screen?
So, and you'll see as the video goes on, Your Honor, that the park is, as I am facing it and you're facing the screen, it's to the left.
And then the main street would then be off to the right.
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Thank you.
Mercedes is backing out of her parking spot and the defendant is approaching her vehicle. He's banging out in front of the hood and she tries again to exit the park. And this is all after everyone left, after the defendant was trying to leave, after the defendant started an argument with the parties. You'll see Mercedes' vehicle go off screen now. And their mother's vehicle also goes off screen. And the defendant continues off screen to follow those vehicles, Your Honor.
The mother is the name.
Cynthia Ivy.
Okay, thank you.
And now, off camera is when the defendant shoots at the vehicle, shooting his son and also shooting Mercedes. Here now, Your Honor, in the center kind of aisle where we just saw that car, you see Norbert Carter. He's coming, running from the defendant. He's between the vehicles. He has a phone. He's trying to get some help for his wife.
Point him out to me now.
He's right here, Judge, right in front of this white vehicle. I can see the individual on the phone. And now you see Norbert start running. Here comes the defendant chasing after him. He's got a gun in his hand. And Judge, I'm going to pause this right here. You see Norbert coming up into the area of the park. And as I included in my sentencing memorandum, as many of the individuals that have addressed the court noted, there's a large church picnic going on in the park at the time. So Norbert, when you look here, his options are a little bit limited. Straight ahead is a whole group of people that are here for the church picnic. You'll note that to the right in the video are two bouncy houses that are for kids, kids are playing in. And then here to the left, this red building, those are restrooms. And Norbert runs to the left here, the defendant chases him, and he chases him into the restroom. At this point, this is where the defendant is shooting Norbert, and he shot a total of 12 times around. Here comes the defendant walking out of the restroom, and then he proceeds to retreat through the parking lot. And he was apprehended a short distance from the park by the Maple Heights Police Department. That's the end of State's Exhibit 1, Judge.
And that's a thumb drive. Is that a thumb drive?
It is, Judge, and I'm going to give that to the court reporter at the end of today's proceedings.
Thank you.
I've watched this video probably dozens of times since it was provided to me for the handling this case. And the question that was asked of me a lot was, why did Norbert run to the left? You know, his family, his budding family in his own life was wiped out by the defendant. There's no legacy going forward for Norbert and Mercedes and their unborn child. But perhaps, and I don't know if this will offer his family any comfort, but the way I see this video, Judge, is that Norbert was a hero that day. If he ran straight into that park and the defendant followed him, how many more people would have gotten hit by a stray bullet? If he ran to the right where those bouncy houses are, would we be here with dead or maimed additional children? He ran to the left. He kind of with no way out. And he probably saved lives that day. And so while he may not have any future familial legacy, maybe this will be his legacy, is that he died saving other people in that park after what he saw the defendant do to his own son and to his wife. When you talk about the purposes and principles of felony sentencing and the factors that this court has to consider, and one of those factors that the court has to consider is psychological harm. I can't imagine a case that has more psychological harm when you inflict on your own child the type of survivor's guilt that Jameer just explained to this court. No kid should ever have to live with that. Not to mention, what the defendant's other children saw. The harm in this case is so great that it deserves the most serious of punishments, whether those be consecutive or a punishment of life without parole, as the state requested in its sentencing memorandum. Just one of these aggravated murders is enough for life without parole, but we're here with 3. And we're here with a victim who has to live the rest of his life saying, gee, it should have been me instead. It doesn't get more serious, Judge, and I hope you recognize that. I hope you take everything that the state has included in its memorandum, the statements made by the victims here today, and the victim impact statements, and give a sentence that reflects how serious this is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Booker. Will it be Mr. Hilo or Mr. Ty?
Your Honor, may it please the court.
Yes.
Before we make comments on behalf of Mr. Iverson, we would ask, it comes to our attention that Ms. Ivy would like to speak to the court in relation to Mercedes.
Yes.
As well as this. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Cynthia Ivey, I-V-E-Y.
Yes, Ms.
I find myself in the unenviable position of being on both sides of the fence. I'm sorry for the pain that the Carters and the Turners are going through. And I'm sorry for what my family is going through. But my family loved Norm. Mercedes and Norm were the best looking couple. And they were looking forward to having their first child. I have no doubt that they would have been good parents because they were parents to everybody else's kids. Norb was thrilled to be a girl dad. He was looking forward to that so much. And I have no doubt that Ava would have had him wrapped around her little finger.
Was the baby named?
Ava. I never get a chance to hold her, watch her grow up. She would have been my 6th grandchild.
And how would she have spelled her name?
A-V-A.
or A-V-A?
A-V-A.
And that she would have been your 6th grandchild?
Yes. I find it hard to believe what happened that day. I actually didn't recognize my son and what was going on. I have the advantage of knowing Jason prior to that day. He was never a bad kid. He didn't get in trouble in school for the most part. He wasn't a criminal. And he wasn't a deadbeat dad. He took care of his kids, and he always had a job. So I can imagine what stressors took over him that day that made him do what he did. But he's not a career criminal. And I know everybody finds it hard to believe given what happened, but I knew my son. And something had to have happened to trigger his emotions that day. I don't know what it was, but it was devastating. My heart hurts all the time because I don't have my daughter or my son-in-law or my grandchild, and I don't have my son. I know there's a consequence to be paid. I don't know what that's going to be, but that's not what I envisioned for my kids. This is not what I envisioned for my kids, and it hurts. At the end of the day, I love all my kids unconditionally. And despite what happened, I still love my son. He is my only biological son, and I love him. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Ivey. Before you leave, Ms. Ivey, I can't imagine the depth of your loss. You could truly be sitting in the room of the courtroom. I appreciate everyone who's spoken already, and I appreciate your words as well. Thank you very, very much.
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Turner.
with the court's indulgence, could I have permission to have one more person speak on behalf?
Whoever you would like to speak, Mr. Turner, yes.
This is Mr. Rick Iverson. This is brother of both Mercedes as well as Jason.
Sure. One moment, sir. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, my name is Frederick Iverson. I am Jason Iverson's brother, Mercedes Iverson's brother. I hadn't planned to speak today because I couldn't imagine what I could say on behalf of my brother who killed my sister and his unborn child, and Norbert, a young man that I hadn't met, but that had everyone in my family talked about the love that they had. And as I stand here, Your Honor, I can tell you that I'm not speaking for the man that's sitting before you right now, Jason Iverson. The person that I'm speaking for is the man that he will be in decades, in 20, in 30, 40 years, I'll be gone. But that's not the man that's going to be then. And what I'm asking for is for Your Honor to consider that man and consider who he may be, and that we'll be punishing a man who no longer exists. Hopefully by then, that this family who has experienced an unimaginable tragedy, hopefully their hearts would have healed and they would have found peace. But the man that's sitting in prison 30 years from now and has found himself and is a different man, that will still be punishing him. And I'm asking Your Honor not to give someone else a chance to look at that man, to give someone else a chance to consider who that man is then and decide whether he deserves any measure of mercy, any chance at life. And that's all that I'm asking, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Iverson. Yes, Mr. Todd. Mr. Hyman now.
Thanks, Your Honor. Your Honor, many years I've been in courtrooms, and this is always the most difficult part, whether you're a prosecutor or a defense attorney. Because this is the part where we look for words to answer questions that we have no question answers for. Your Honor, working with the attorneys at this table, all of us from the beginning of this case, we knew what we had read. We knew what the discovery told us. And when we meet Mr. Iverson, that person that existed on that day has not been the person that we've had as a client. As I sit in this courtroom and I listened to the individuals that came forward to speak, we all recognize how difficult that is to relive that moment, and they've relived that moment each and every day and each and every second since then. And Mr. Iverson, in our conversations, has made it very, very clear that no one will be able to understand or recognize he does feel their pain. He hopes for their forgiveness, but he knows that he'll probably never get their forgiveness. But that's the goal in his life right now. You know, Judge, we can use words like tragic, horrible, but they really don't identify or quantify what took place that day. All the lives of every one of these individuals, whether wearing a t-shirt that expresses their feelings, or they're carrying it in their heart, whether they're sitting on this side of the courtroom or this side of the courtroom, lives were forever altered. And Mr. Iverson will tell you that he's the one that did that. And he'll also tell you that there's not a moment or second that goes by that he wishes he had the ability to take it back. He will address this court shortly. And when we use the words forgiveness, we all understand that when we hurt somebody, even if we say we're sorry, we know there's consequences for our actions. It was brought up by his brother, Your Honor, and his mother, that person, whatever issues families have, how it culminated here is not how it's supposed to culminate. But one thing was clear, and it's as reflected by both the state and the defense reviewing his pre-sentence report. He's an individual that comes to you if the only thing of any significance was a misdemeanor disorderly conduct that he had. He didn't have a criminal history. And I probably couldn't articulate any better than his mother and even his brother when they said that this was not the person they knew, and whatever happened that day that triggered him. And to the victims' families, we don't mean that that's something to justify what he did, but something triggered him that day to act in a way that was not typical or represented the life that he led. He's a person that provided for his children. He's a person that worked. And that day, it all came tumbling down and crashing down with an eternal penalty on each and every person that's in this courtroom. There was other issues that, through our work in preparation to this case, Your Honor, that we were able to glean and learn from. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ty right now to address that with the court. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Mr. Ty.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. I think all that has been said by Mr. Hilo, as well as Frederick, his brother, and his mother, Ms. Ivy, I echo those sentiments, Your Honor. We stand before you knowing that our heart aches and bleeds for the families involved in this courtroom and beyond this courtroom. Mr. Iverson has expressed to us genuine remorse over the last months we've been representing him since September. We've seen a difference in him, even in the change of the medication. Your Honor, I will say this without any degree of uncertainty, that I do not believe that we would be here today but for Mr. Iverson deteriorating slowly during the summer months of 2023. And unfortunately, we will never know the extent and answer all the questions that these families have here today. I know that this court has before you the report that you referenced to earlier from Dr. Winsberg. I know that the court has diligently looked at all the things being considered, the lack of criminal history, and things of that nature.
Yes, please continue.
Thank you. Your Honor, in respect to that, there's no amount of punishment that will relieve the pain that's suffered in this courtroom today. And we understand that. Jason understands that. And Jason knows that there's accountability. And the one thing that was telling for me several months ago was when Jason said, I don't want to put anyone else through any further pain. And that's why we're here, with him accepting responsibility. That's why we're here, for him to express, in his own words, more than Mr. Hilo, myself, or the other team members here can express to this court, just to fashion a sentence that's fair and take into the accountability of all things that happened. And as his brother indicated, knowing that this wasn't the man that they knew on September 2023, nor will it be 20, 30 years from now or beyond. Your Honor, we ask that you take all that into consideration. We ask that you listen to Jason and hear him out with the sentiments that he would like to express to this court, as well as to the families involved in this case, who are also his family. We can't imagine the pain that anyone is going through here. But we know that you, as Your Honor, will look at that, everything that's being said, all the sentiments expressed by the family members that spoke here today, and will fashion a sentence that's appropriate but not overly necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Iverson, this is your sentencing. You've heard everyone else speak. You have an opportunity to speak. It is your right to do so. Would you like to say anything, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, sir. What would you like to say?
family. I know that all of you may not, want to hear what I have to say, but I would like for you to hear me out anyway. I had no right to take your son, and you're right, that was a very cowardly way to handle my business, and I'm sorry that I did what I did that day. I deeply regret and wish that I could take it back. Norbert was a great son, brother, friend, and I'm sure he would have been a great father. He was deserving better in my actions that day. He was deserving better, and he was a great brother to me. I don't know what was going through my mind when all of that happened. I just want to say that I'm very, very sorry. Truly, I apologize. And I just wish I could take it all back and bring your son back, but I can't. And I'm here taking responsibility because I know that that was not the right thing to do. And to my mom and my family, I had wrote something down, but I'm truly sorry for taking Mercedes away from us. It hurts like hell knowing that she's gone. I destroyed a whole family that day. I did. And I deserve whatever punishment that's coming towards me. She did so much. She did so much for everybody. They both did. They deserve to enjoy having a baby girl here and enjoying their own family. They deserve to live. And I should have died that day. They didn't deserve none of this, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I tore everything apart. Mom, I don't know how you could ever forgive me. I don't know how my family can forgive me. Whatever I was going through, you know what? They didn't deserve for me to take it out on them. They didn't deserve that. That wasn't me that day in the park, but it was me. Like my mom said, I was a different person. I don't know what went through my mind. I can offer no good explanation for what I did that day. I just pray and hope and wish that you could all forgive me one day. And know that I'm sincere about this and that I love and care about all of you. That's all I wish to say. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Carter.
state, Your Honor. Thank you.
Prior to coming to the bench, I did have the opportunity to review the entire case file. I have reviewed all of the materials that have been provided to me by the defense and mitigation. Including the mitigation factors report that they've provided. I've reviewed the pre-sentence investigation report as well. I've heard from the victims' family members. I've heard from you, Mr. Iverson, and I've listened very attentively to everything that you have to say. And I may offer some comment. But before getting to that, I want to make sure that you understand that prior to today's date, from the time of your plea forward, I have thought about you and the people that have been affected here, because they're all affected, each and every one of you, yourself included, Mr. Iverson. And as this sentencing day has been looming and as the materials came in to review, I've thought about all the different possible penalties that there could be to fashion some sentence that is appropriate enough for the amount of damage that has been done. I've reviewed 2929.11 with the principles and purposes of sentencing, 2929.12 for the seriousness and recidivism factors, and 2929.13 and other revised code sections for felony sentencings. I've reviewed each of the factors in the revised code, as I've reviewed the sentencing memorandum and the mitigation provided by the defense. It was clear at that point in time, but it's become very, very pointed here, just how specific your actions were that day, and just how incredibly harmful your actions were. You talk about not knowing what came over you that day. But from the fact pattern that's been provided to me, it appears very certain that you were stewing and brooding. I can't imagine being there at your home during a domestic violence scenario on May 26th, needing to call the aunt to come rescue them from you. A person that should be somebody that they can be safe with. It's not simply a cowardly act that you committed that day, but you had become twisted and allowed yourself to become twisted over a period of time. We know that there's a mandatory period of time here. And at the time of your plea, we did speak about that. The adult parole authority will be in charge of any supervision on the aggravated murder charges, and there are 3 here. And in my many, many years, decades, I don't remember ever a case like this. It's different than other cases. I know that all of the lawyers in this room appreciate we know that. We've discussed that. Mr. Hilo, Mr. Ty, Ms. Pritchard, Ms. Berman. This is very difficult to imagine the amount of harm that is caused to everyone, yourself included. For the felonious assault of your son, there is a post-release control that needs to be advised, you need to be advised of. That's a felony in the second degree and a mandatory minimum of 18 months up to a maximum of 3 years of supervision if released. And if you violate any post-release control rule or condition, you may be subjected to a more restrictive rule or condition, a longer duration under supervision, or you could be sent back to prison even though you have done all the time to which you have been sentenced. You could get up to 9 months in prison for each rule violation. The total, however, for all rule violations cannot be any more than 1/2 of the prison sentence that you receive, unless the rule violation is for the commission of a new felony, in which case you could receive a prison term with a greater of 1 year, or the time remaining on post-release control, in addition to any time that you receive for the new felony. The post-release control prison term must be served consecutively to the prison term that you receive for the new felony. Okay, although the other penalties are much more serious, the court, by law, must instruct you as to all of that, and to the rating tokes as well. You signed off on that when we went through the plea arrangement. Mr. Pilo and Mr. Ty, do you have any issues with your client understanding and knowing the rating tokes and definite sentencing scheme that we've already gone through?
No, Your Honor, you've explained it thoroughly at the time of the plea. We noted our objection at the time of reading tokes, but other than that, he understands it fully, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Iverson, that is the case?
Yes.
I could go back and read all that through to you. I know that you signed off on it earlier before. The form here, sir, will be handed to you. You'll recognize it and how we went over it with great detail at the time of your plea. If you do understand all of that and sign off on that, by simply putting the next date, today's date, April 17th, next to the other date. The court will sign as well. I'm satisfied that you appreciate and understand the rated total sentencing scheme. Which is the least of the issues here in front of you today, I understand. The law is the law, and we have to comply with each part of it, so thank you. Turn my attention then to the mitigation. The defense had wanted me to review all of this, which I have in depth, but not necessarily comment on all of this. That's correct, Mr. Hilo and Mr. Ty?
Yes, sir.
There's one particular other issue that the court must take care of, and that is I have reviewed clinical impressions here and have noted that they don't rise to the level of having to have a hearing regarding serious mental illness under 2929.025. Because they've not been diagnosed with anything such as schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder or even bipolar disorder or delusional disorder. There are some issues here from prior diagnoses of anxiety disorder, unspecified, and depressive disorder, unspecified. And noted your 2009 diagnosis, psychotic disorder, not otherwise specified. And also that the writer of this report here, which was for litigation, which is Dr. Jeff Rinsberg, R-I-N-D-S-B-E-R-G, noted specifically on top of page 21 that his information is consistent with these diagnoses, and there are no reports of prior mania, hypomania, major depressive disorder, lingering erroneous psychoses, or any other symptoms that negate presently diagnosed and treated conditions. I didn't note in here any written paragraphs that would explain from your perspective what happened that day. And I understand it's a mitigation report. Perhaps you couldn't adequately explain that you weren't specifically asked. But I want to take into consideration any statements that you wish to make. When I look at the pre-sentence investigation report, where you were given an opportunity for the defendant's version, it states after being advised of their rights, the defendant did not wish to provide a statement. But I am taking into consideration your words that you've given here in the court. I'll just note that for the record. Why do I note all of that? I'm taking into consideration all of this mitigation when I'm looking at your sentencing factors, Mr. Iverson. And I'm also keenly aware that a number of people, even when they were speaking, wanted to know why. That's the thing that people don't have an answer to. And I wanted to comment on some of their specific words. Mr. Tyler Carter, Miss Tyler Carter, Norbert's sister, the one who says that Norbert was the calm to her storm, and that she knew that Norbert loved Mercedes. She wants to know why. I would too. I do. Why shoot 5 times? Was he scared? Did he ask you to stop? Did you see his facial expression? No, you didn't, because he shot in the back. That you walked out of the bathroom like it was the best thing. I'm familiar with the proverb that she cited to. And you've had a long time to think about this and what you've offered the family, while heartfelt, in the hopes that they forgive you someday, and I hope they do. It seems insurmountable, but I hope they do. Nothing that you said really answers that question. As your attorneys even even stated. So you leave people with a very difficult chore, perhaps for the rest of their lives, to answer that question and to be able to come to terms, perhaps even with forgiveness. When I hear the words of Marilyn Turner, Norbert's grandmother, that are so wise, he doesn't know what monster took you over. She recognized you as being envious. I mean, I think that's clear. You were envious, jealous, and that's what took you over. Norma took care of you, your sister, and your children. She's thinking of other people. Truly empathetic with her prayer that God softens people's hearts. And she even says, on a more eternal scale, when you stand before your Maker, I hope you have a very good explanation for what you have done. Because you certainly don't have a good explanation on a temporal scale. At least one that doesn't satisfy or help others. You reference and hope that they forgive you. It's still about you. And that's tragic. Your life is it's essentially over as well. I wanted you to know I recognize that. I do. The court has formulated the following decision based upon the overriding principles and purposes of felony sentencing, which are to protect the public from future crime by the defendant or others, and to punish the offender using the minimum sanctions that the court determines accomplishes those purposes without imposing an unnecessary burden on state or local government resources. To achieve these purposes, the court has considered the need for incapacitation, deterrence, rehabilitation, and providing for restitution. And I have considered all the relevant sentencing guidelines provided in revised code sections 2929.11, 2929.12, and 2929.13, as well as 2929.19 and other revised code sections for felony sentencing. Lives were taken and lives were destroyed. You have 3 separate aggravated murder counts here. For the aggravated murder count number 1, Mercedes Iverson. There's a 3-year firearm specification that is mandatory and must be served consecutively to the underlying aggravated murder charge. The court is well aware of all the different potential sentences pursuant to the aggravated murder sentencing statute. Each life affected here is as important as others. Each count is as important as others. For the aggravated murder of Mercedes Iverson, you will be sentenced to the term of imprisonment of life without parole. Anything less than life without parole would demean the seriousness of these multiple offenses. Within a moment of your life, you forever changed. Everyone's life that knows, and everyone that you know, and everyone that you ever profess to love. Because everyone that you loved her. And I can't imagine what a mother with a child already named, who's 7.5 months pregnant with her, what thoughts were going through her mind as she lay bleeding out. That is count number 1, the aggravated murder charge. For count number 2, aggravated murder, where you did purposely and with prior calculation and design cause the unlawful termination of Mercedes Iverson's pregnancy. Who was named by her and her husband as Ava. The court sentences you to a term of life without parole. For count number 3, for the aggravated murder of Norbert Carter, the court sentences you to a term of imprisonment of life without parole. Count number 15, the felonious assault of Jameer. For this felony of the second degree, the court sentences you to a term of 8 years. Under the Reagan-Todt sentencing scheme, which you're well aware of, 50% of your indefinite, of that time will be an indefinite period of time. It will be an 8 to 12-year sentence. You're to serve a minimum prison term of 8 years with an indefinite prison term of 4 years on that count for a maximum prison term of 12 years. The total stated prison term for that count is 8 to 12 years. I think Jameer found his voice here. I think it was very difficult to get up and speak and to talk about you. He loved everybody, including you, dearly. And it appears as if he wished he were in their place rather than being there. I noted his words that he couldn't wake up from this nightmare. He knows that he can't hate you for the rest of his life. But he can't forgive you, at least not now. So he's in between the two. Put him in prison. So although the pain is insurmountable, sir, this doesn't have to be an eternal penalty, but it certainly will be a temporal penalty for the rest of your life. The court is going to order that these sentences be run concurrently with each other, sir. I believe that the sentences themselves are balanced and do not demean the seriousness for a separate crime for each one of these persons. But I also believe that there is the hope of redemption. Again, I can't imagine for all of you here, every single one of you, and everyone here, how difficult this will be for the rest of your lives. So the court's thoughts are with you, and sir, they'll be waiving all court costs and fines. The sheriff will be ordered to transport you, and I'll say good luck to you, sir. All right.
I'd just like